oh, your son is a gangster rapper, right? How did you let him marry your daughter? And it was just shocking to me. And I said, no, actually, my son is a CEO.
She sent and posted Mama Tina and Solange. And I really want to see how the Beehive handles this, because this now makes 3 women that he has went at during this entire beef.
She was like on a windowsill.
Right.
We was in Vegas. She said, come on, I'm talking to her. She jumped out, she was like, duh, duh, duh. And I'm like, wait, what is you doing? That stuff, that's me and Jay-Z stuff. This ain't got nothing to do with you, girl.
You lucky Solange wasn't there.
Yeah, you lucky Solange wasn't
Solange was there, I would have had to reboot.
So 50 Cent just did something that might start a war you never saw coming. And it involves Beyonce's mom, Miss Tina Knowles. Now, what does Tina have to do with 50 Cent? Well, she decided to insert herself in 50's beef with T and Ken Harris. And let's just say 50 didn't like that. She raised her hand and volunteered for smoke. And we all know 50 Cent does not forget when you pick a side. So what did he do? What he always does. He went nuclear and started clowning Miss Tina on social media. But now the situation has escalated even more. And sources close to 50 are saying the Knowles-Carter family better stay in their lane, or 50 will expose them all in this rumored new documentary he's got in the works. If you've been paying attention to 50 lately, you know he's been holding on to something much, much bigger. He already publicly said he's thinking about doing a documentary on Jay-Z's alleged ties with Jeffrey Epstein. But now that Tina decided to poke the bear, insiders are saying she might have just given 50 the excuse he needed to finally drop everything he knows about the Carters.
You crazy if you think all hell ain't about to break loose with the Jay-Z Epstein files. If you haven't heard, 50 Cent is about to do a documentary like he did on Diddy. He about to do some like surviving Jay-Z type shit.
All right, so let's rewind a little bit because you need to understand what Tina actually walked into. So 50 Cent and T have been going at it for a minute. And at one point, 50 decided to go after T.I.'s wife, Tiny, and posted an unflattering picture of her. Now, if you know anything about T and King Harris, you know they don't play about Tiny. She's off limits in that family. So, both father and son decided to match 50's energy and started talking about his late mother, Sabrina Jackson. And here is where Tina comes in. In the middle of all this back and forth, Tiny is posting videos just living her life and being unbothered. And Tina Knowles decides to repost one of those videos and writes a caption praising Tiny. Tina wrote, "You feel that? That's what real feminine energy looks like. Effortless, beautiful, unbothered, glow season." Now, Tina probably wasn't trying to start something with 50. She just wanted to speak some life into Tiny after she saw her getting dragged for her looks. But here's the thing about 50 Cent. When people insert themselves in his beefs, he sees this as them picking sides. And 50 doesn't let that slide, even if it's Beyonce's 72-year-old mother. So 50 decided to check Tina and posted this photo of her with the caption, "I'm not going to do it, but it's just getting weird. Little effed up albino kids' grandmothers getting involved. What the FLOL?" But 50 didn't stop there. It looks like he wants all the smoke with the Knowles family because he went and posted the heavyweight elevator champion of the world, Solange. 50 wrote in the caption, "These rap dudes soft. You got to watch out for these killers. They will get you in the elevator, LOL." Because here is what people are missing. Those posts weren't really about Tina and Solange. We all know 50's target is always Jay-Z, and by extension Beyonce. 50 already made it clear how he feels about the Carters, and he even claimed that Jay-Z and Beyonce's marriage is just a business contract that allows Jay to hide behind his wife's image.
Look, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those trophies, trophies came rolling in.
But this is also personal for 50 because according to him, Jay-Z has been low-key trying to sabotage him for years. Back in 2022, when 50 was invited to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show with Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Kendrick, and Mary J. Blige, he said the performance almost didn't happen because Jay-Z and Roc Nation tried to keep him out. And according to 50, the only reason he got on stage that night was because Eminem refused to perform without him.
And was putting it together. Mm-hmm. So I think they still harbor some energy towards me.
You think you were purposely left out of the ad?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. I think that they were saying the NFL had some issues with me that I don't know what those issues are. Like, what is the issue? When you start looking at, that's not mine. That's theirs. They're Harper, right? But when you look at, M is looking at the entire legacy.
Yeah.
The whole thing, like with M, Dre, and myself, like I'm a shady aftermath. You see what I'm saying? Like, it do so much G-Unit Records.
Right.
They forget that I'm M and Dre's out.
Now we get to the really serious part, the part that actually got Jay-Z acting all nervous. The Epstein files. When the document started dropping earlier this year, and Jay's name appeared more than once, 50 saw his opening and said he might just do a whole documentary on this Jay-Z/Epstein connection. Now, to be clear, Jay-Z hasn't been officially accused of any crime in connection with Epstein, and his name is not on Epstein's flight logs, as far as we know. But because of Jay's reputation and his past friendship with men like Diddy and Harvey Weinstein, even a mention is enough. And 50 knows that. He knows how most people feel about Jay-Z these days. He already did a whole documentary on Diddy for Netflix, and it did huge numbers. So now people are asking, is Jay next? Is 50 really about to produce a documentary linking Jay-Z to Epstein? But that brings us back to Miss Tina, because Tina just handed 50 the perfect excuse to go from teasing to actually doing. She inserted herself into his beef and picked a side. And whether you agree with it or not, in 50's mind, that means the gloves are off. And here's where it gets even messier. Some fans are now pointing out that Tina also has some weird allegations attached to her name. And some folks even accused her of covering up Jay-Z's alleged crimes with Diddy. Remember when Jay was named in that lawsuit involving one of Diddy's accusers who claimed she was just 13 when the alleged incident happened? Well, Tina was caught liking an Instagram post from ABC 7 Chicago that covered the case. But then less than 24 hours later, she clapped back at everyone calling her out and claimed her account was hacked. She wrote, "I was hacked. As you all know, I do not play about my family. So, if you see something uncharacteristic of me, just know that it is not me." And then she added in the caption, "Please stop playing with me. No weapon formed against my family shall prosper." But here's where this gets a little uncomfortable for Tina. Back in March 2024, right after Homeland Security raided Diddy's homes, Diddy posted a picture of his daughter, Love. And guess who liked it? That's right, Miss Tina. But that's not all. Several industry insiders who worked with Tina Knowles have alleged that she's really a nasty person behind the scenes. Voice coach David Lee Brewer, who worked with Beyoncé's first group, Girls' Time, even claimed that Tina once called one of the members, Ashley Tamar Davis, too big, dark, and ugly.
Coming back to my apartment to tell me that I had made the right decision, she told me it was just as well. Now, I don't know if I want to read this part because this is what she said to me, and it's really nasty. And this is a direct quote. "Ashley is talented, but she is so big. She towers over the other girls, and she is too dark and ugly."
So, Tina had the nerve to allegedly insult a dark-skinned woman. But when fans talked about those rumors that Beyoncé bleaches her skin, she threw a fit and said, "Black people who question Beyoncé are jealous bozos." And yes, those were her exact words. Back during Beyoncé's Renaissance tour, many fans noticed her skin looked noticeably lighter. And while Beyoncé herself didn't address the skin bleaching allegations, Tina went off on fans for simply asking questions. She wrote, "How sad it is that some of her own people continue the stupid narrative with hate and jealousy. What's really most disappointing is that some black people, yes, you bozos that's on social media, lying and faking and acting like you're so ignorant that you don't understand that black women have worn platinum hair since the Etta James days." Now look, maybe Tina had a point about the blonde wig situation. But let's be honest, her habit of calling people bozos, stupid, or jealous every time somebody has a critique about Beyoncé is starting to feel a little off. Especially coming from the same woman who's been accused of calling another black girl too big, too dark, and too ugly. And then on top of all that, some fans are now also pointing out that Tina made her ex-husband Richard Lawson sign an NDA after their divorce. And the NDA specifically prohibits Richard from speaking negatively about Beyoncé and Jay-Z. But why would Tina assume Richard would even want to say something negative about them? Unless there is something to say. It kind of makes you wonder what Richard witnessed in the Carter household. Just saying. So what happens now? Will 50 Cent really drop a whole documentary on the Knowles Carter dynasty? Do you think he has actual evidence, or is he just trolling? And how do you feel about Tina inserting herself in 50's beef with T? Leave all your comments below, and don't miss this next video.
Hey,